Is the writing pad visible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. So if you recall yesterday's discussion, we will take it from there, that we wanted to figure out a method of solution which we can apply for a channel having rectangular cross section. That means if we show the coordinate axis, so you have sorry, this I think we called as B possibly. So change from A to B, and the other direction it was A. So this was B, and along the Y it was half, each half was A, and this is our domain of interest. Because of absolute symmetry, 1/4 of the cross-sectional domain is a matter of our interest. So as we mentioned, in this case, the apparent difference from the parallel plate channel problem is that you have both dependence of y and z into the velocity distribution. Okay. So this we discussed yesterday, and we also worked out an approximate approach. I would not say that it is even very rigorously based in terms of theory, except that it was satisfying the overall force balance as well as the boundary conditions at the wall. So in that way, perhaps for some limiting cases that solution is not bad or very inaccurate, but it will be quite inaccurate for certain situations because the form of the solution which was considered may not be even closely represented by the exact solution of this equation. So exact solution of this equation is something that we should look for. Remember that what we are talking about here is a case where you have, say, a value of the pressure gradient, piezometric pressure gradient. So this will have a numerical value, which in general is not 0. So this equation, which is, say, if you represent in terms of the Laplacian operator in 2 dimensions, So I will not write it as formally like this, because if we write this, the x dependence will also come, but x dependence is not there for this particular problem. So I would not prefer the use of this Laplacian operator, just because it doesn't need to be generalized. So what we can say is that it's a partial differential equation in 2 dimensions. If the right hand side is 0, it would be the Laplace equation, the famous Laplace equation. But here the right hand side is not 0. So it is not the Laplace equation, but another very important equation which is called as Poisson equation. So either way, the Laplace equation and the Poisson equation are very important in applied physics and applied mathematics, and we will see how we will apply those methods of solution here very judiciously. So what we will do is, if you see the major, I should not say challenge, but difference from the Laplace equation, which is creating the problem, is the right hand side. So if we now separately treat the right hand side, that is divide this problem into a linear superposition of two problems. Problem 1 . What is the problem 1? The problem 1 is the parallel plate channel problem. So problem 1 is only a part of the solution, which is u1. Say a part of u is u1, which is a function of y. So that is like a parallel plate channel solution. So because it is a function of y only, you can write this in this way, the governing equation. So what we are trying to do, I mean, this is what doesn't matter, physics, mathematics, engineering, in every sector of study, this is what we always want to do. We try to utilize what we have already learned for solving something which is more general than what we have already done. So the parallel plate channel case is a very special case of this one. So in some special limit, that solution will be applicable, and therefore that remains as a part of the overall solution. And recognizing that, we are having that part named as U1, which will have its own governing equation, boundary conditions. Number 1, at y equal to 0, the du1 dy equal to 0, and number 2, at y equal to, so this one, this boundary, at y equal to a, u1 equal to 0. Okay, so this is the parallel plate channel problem. So this will have a solution of u1 parallel plate as a function of y. We all know what is the solution. We have worked it out. I will not waste more time in working this out again. I will concentrate more on the problem 2, so that we have to, somewhere recognize that the problem, the overall problem, we are imagining as a linear superposition of problem 1 and problem 2. And I will tell you why the linear superposition works. It will not work for all problems, but here it will work. So we consider for problem 2, u2, which is a function of y and z. So now for the problem 2, we are considering the governing differential equation. U2 is a function of y and z. So this is equal to 0. This is a separate artificial problem that we have formulated, and we will see that the combination of this problem with the parallel plate channel problem can be conceived as the actual physical problem, provided we impose the correct boundary condition. So problem 1 deals with the solution of U1. Problem 2 deals with the solution of U2. So all what it means is that we are trying to look for a case where U is a combination of U1 and U2, linear combination, not any other combination. So the question is that what I mean, is it justified to consider that? And if so, how we put the boundary conditions to uh, 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 to actually what to say, to actually come up with a problem for which separate solutions of problems 1 and 2, if we simply add, just like arithmetic addition, it will work. So let us try to put the boundary conditions. And then this is where you have to very carefully look into the formulation of the problem, because this is something like a very important lesson that you can apply for other problems, which is maybe physically different but mathematically similar. So this will require boundary conditions both for y and z. So at y equal to 0, what about u2? So at y equal to 0, because of symmetry, we have discussed about the symmetry of this problem. This has absolute symmetry in a sense, both physical and geometric similarity. So this is equal to 0. At y equal to, so number 2, at y equal to a, what should be u2? So you have to keep in mind that the physical boundary condition, that is at y equal to a, is u equal to 0, and u is u1 plus u2. So if u1 is 0, you must set u2 equal to 0 so that u equal to u1 plus u2, that superposition is honored. Okay. So these are the boundary conditions on y. Similar boundary conditions will be there on z, which I will write as 3 and 4 here. So at z is equal to 0, which is the again the center line. Z equal to 0 is this one. You will have the symmetry. There is no problem with that. And remember that the z, for the z dependence, the sole burden is on u2, because u1 is giving y dependence and u2 is giving both y and z dependence. That means the z dependence is coming completely from u2 function and no way u1 function. So in that way, this satisfies the overall u. And at z is equal to b. Okay, z is equal to b means the wall. So here you have this one. At z is equal to b, you have again u equal to 0, right? That is the physical boundary condition. Which boundary? This is what I am putting that asterisk. At this boundary, you have u equal to 0, but already at that boundary, some u1 will be there, right? So some u1 will be there as a function of y, because when you obtain u1 as a function of y, there was no z dependence which was considered there. So at z is equal to b, in that u1, some value will come. for different values of y. So that u1 is not, that u1 is the function of y, which is this one. This is u1 parallel plate y. So at z is equal to b, you must have u2 is equal to minus u1, which is the function of y, which is this parallel plate y. So that why it is so, see, u equal to u1 plus u2. That means u1 plus u2 is 0. So what we are ensuring by this, that the boundary conditions are overall physically satisfied in terms of u, no matter, I mean, how we decouple that in in just hypothetical u1 and u2. So this is about satisfaction of the boundary condition, satisfaction of the governing equation. So this is a linear differential equation. So that means you can simply linearly superimpose the corresponding elementary solutions to develop a complex solution. That will fail once the linearity is lost, and the linearity will be lost once you have the acceleration term in a Navier-Stokes equation. So here you can see that this is simply the Stokes equation, but the acceleration term is not there. And because the acceleration term is not there, you have to accept that linearity will hold, and that is what we wanted to exploit for problem 2. So for problem 2, I will just erase the problem 1 part, because this is what we have done, and we will see how we go for problem 2 solution. And the challenge in solving all these problems is that all the students have a prejudice for this. So as soon as a problem of this type comes, you jump into the Fourier series solution. Again, the criticality is that if you have forgotten what is Fourier series or related mathematical things, you will lose the entire thing from your mind, the concept. So the concept for most of you depends on a formula of Fourier series that at some point of time in some mathematics course you have learned. I would say that that is not a good positive lifelong learning. I mean, frankly speaking, I mean, of course, all of us have students learned those things, but just suddenly, if you ask me about these different properties of Fourier series, I will not be able to answer. I have to look into the book, note, etc., and then maybe given some time, I may prepare and deliver. But I will show you a method of approach. But if you keep no prejudice in your mind, but the most fundamental concepts of the solution of the partial differential equations, you can actually solve this problem without even daring to remember what is Fourier series. So what we will do is we'll look into this equation and try to understand some properties. So what you see is that this is a boundary value problem where you have the 4 boundaries, right? I mean, one of those is, it is not a rigid, this is not a physical rigid boundary, but the center line. So in that way, if you consider the center lines like this is a 4 boundary problem, which is governed by y equal to 0, a, and z is equal to 0, b. Out of these 4 boundaries, you have 3 boundary conditions, homogeneous. Homogeneous means the right hand side is 0. Now the boundary conditions can be either the value of the variable is given or the derivative is given. So if the value is given, it is called as Dirichlet boundary condition. If the normal derivative is given, it is called as Neumann boundary condition. And there is a possibility that one is mentioned or one is given as a function of the other, but not individually. That is called as a mixed boundary condition. Now, here, in terms of the Dirichlet or the Neumann boundary condition, that is value or its derivatives, you have the right hand side equal to 0. And because the right hand side is 0, the 3 of the 4 boundary conditions, this renders the method of separation of variables work. This is the first thing. So all of you have learned separation of variables, but you may not have a clarity of when it will work and when it will not work. So most of you have an intuitive idea that for the problems for which this method was applied in your mathematics class, for those problems it will surely work, and that is why it is applied. But for some other problems where it is not known, the separation of variables, I mean, they work, they may work, or they may not work. So what do we do about this? So to take care of this, the first thing that we should look into is whether it's the boundary conditions, at least in such a rectangular domain as an example, 3 out of 4 boundary conditions, they are homogeneous. And why this homogeneous boundary condition is required when we go for the solution, it will be very, very clear. So when the separation of variables works, the advantage is that you can now break it as a product of two solutions. One is a function of y and another is a function of z. So when it is a function of y into a function of z, the partial differential equation here will boil down to ordinary differential equation, and that is the objective of the separation of variables, that convert the PDE to ODE. So if you now consider the derivatives, this will be simply f double dash g, where dash means ordinary derivative, and the u2 will be f into g double dash, the u2 derivative. So in that way, we have f double dash g plus g double dash f equal to 0, which comes from this governing equation. So f double dash by f becomes minus g double dash by g. The impact of this is we have now separated y dependence and z dependence. So function of y only, and this is a function of z only. And that means we have seen earlier that if two functions are separated in this way, that means each must be a constant. Otherwise, you cannot have a say y dependence is equal to a z dependence. So the meeting that I was talking about is going to start soon. So I will leave this class, and so now whatever is the time, you may join. I mean, you can take a break. Either you be online or you can leave. You may join. I would say that the meeting will run at least up to 11, if not more. So you can, for safe side, you can be online from 11, and whenever I am done, I will come back and join the class. So I'm leaving the meeting and I'll join another meeting. So can you see the writing pad?
No, sir. Yes, sir. Now it
You
is
cannot
visible.
see. Now it is visible. So as I am going to write a few lines, just one of you can keep your microphone on and just keep on telling that you can now see something. So I'm just continuing with the previous equation. Sorry, just a minute. So it seems there is a lag between what I'm putting up in the screen and what you are seeing, but still if you can see. So it's quite a significant lag, but still. So can you see what is here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But suddenly, I mean, I see the entire, yeah. Okay. So it is now
Sir, the
from my
notepad has gone off.
notepad has gone off. Huh? Yeah. So something, I mean, let us quit it for today because we don't have much time left, and I have to perhaps change my complete hardware. So we will see at some time, maybe in some weekend, we will make up the matter that we lost because of the hardware and connectivity issue today. But this is something where I cannot help much. I mean, I tried my best with all the resources that I have and whatever I can do, but still it is not working. So anyway, thank you very much for being patient. I mean, all of you will understand that this is something which is beyond my control. So hopefully by the Thursday's class when we are back, we should be fine with these glitches in the hardware and it will work. So let us close it today.